Okay, good afternoon. So this will be Unit 5 na extra topics. So we're gonna go away from D. No, not 3D, and we'll do 2D. So what we'll do, or what we'll discuss here, is how to create a 2D platformer game. So we're going to start very simple. But what I have so far looks like something like this, where we have our player here, and then dynamic camera movement as well. If you're idle, the camera doesn't. The camera closes in, right? And then if you start moving, the camera sort of zooms out. Tapos it eases in. So you have a bit of what they call dead zone, in which the player can move, and when it goes out of the dead zone, it follows the player. So it doesn't follow the player all the time, like this. Then we'll do tile set for these on platforms. The enemies, I may or may not discuss creating enemies. Okay, no, obstacle colliders, the blobs. I think they have proper sprites. Yeah. But anyway, oh yeah. If you dive into the water, you die. And like that. Okay. So I'll close this. Then what we'll use for the assets will be from here. So this is the night sprite sheet. This is from Unity. This is free, so you could just download it or search it for this in the asset store. Download anyway. And then we have this, the pixel platformer. So this is from kenney.nl. So if you look at kenney.nl, this is completely free. Yeah. It also has Creative Commons license, so you don't really need permission. If you want to download this, you could just click on download, and then it would ask you to donate. But since this is completely free, if you don't have money to donate, then you don't have to donate. Continue without donating, and then download. Okay. Yeah. So once you've downloaded that, you can just extract it and then use it. Sprite sheets. Okay. So I've made already a 2D project here, but if you forgot how to make that, you could go to new project and then select the 2D built-in render pipeline here. So since we won't be using 3D physics, we'll use 2D physics, so better use this one. So a few differences is scene view here. So naka 2D siya. This one's locked on, right? And then 2D siya na space, right? The camera, if you look at the camera, the projection type is orthographic as well, which is important siya na for 2D. Anyway, so let's start with importing the assets. So first we'll import the night na assets. We'll do this later on. I mean, the player will do this later on. We'll start on the terrain, how to make the terrain, the platforms, etc. But we'll just import all of the assets for now. So we could click open in Unity here, and then it goes to itong pop-up is on the other screen. So it will fetch the assets. So once it's fetched, right? You can just click on import, and then automatically ma-import na lang siya sa project. So there's another pop-up here. Minute. There. So you could just import all of this, but I won't import the scene. So demo.unity here, and then everything else I'll just import. Okay. Once it's done importing, it will create a new folder here. There, night files, right? Next thing we'll do is we'll import the assets for the terrain, the platform. So I'll create another folder here. Oh, not C script. Create a folder for the platform assets. Okay. And then, so this one, simply we could just drag it from our Project Explorer, not Project Explorer, File Explorer. I'll find it here. Oh, why is it? So I have here the Unity, and then I have the project assets already downloaded here. Kenny. So this is the pixel platformer. If you download it from Kenny, right, and then just extract it, and then the folder would look like this. So we have a tiled na files here. I'm not sure where you use this because I haven't used this before. You also have the tile map here, which if you see, that's just one big image like this. Tapos it contains all of the tiles already, right? We'll use that. Oops. Try close. Try close. Oh. I closed Unity. Sorry. Yeah. We'll restart the T. Sorry about that. Anyway. So yeah, the tile map would look like this now. So we have this which is not yet sliced. The other one is already sliced. So I think we'll use the other one. We also have a tile map for the background. So this one's already tiled now and separated. So we could use that as well. Or we could use this and we could slice it ourselves. So this is what is usually being used in a lot of small games before, in which it's just one file and then you just select a bit of it and then populate as to make the terrain, right? So para tipid siya sa space and organization. This one also includes characters, so if you want to use that, you could use that. We won't use this for this specific session. Anyway, I'll just drag this, see tile map, all of this here, and then we can start with the tile maps. So if I open the tile maps here, zoom in, not zooming in quite clearly. Anyway, so we have a tile map here, right? So if we just drag this diretso sa scene view, it's very small, right? We could do like sizing with this. So we could manipulate the scale, etc. But that would take a lot of guesstimate, customizations, whatever. So what we can do, if we go back sa Kenny in a website, may already tile size na property. So it says here 18 by 18, right? What we could do is we'll click on the PNG here, and then sa sprite mode, we have this measurement here, pixels per unit. So currently, ang image ni 100 pixels of this unit is equal to 1 unit of Unity. But what we want actually is 18 units ang saka unit. 18 pixels ang saka unit because the tile size is 18 by 18. We just edit this to 18, scroll down, click on apply, and then it should be bigger like that. Okay. You could use that for all of the images that you'll use later on. So currently it kind of looks like it's 2 units, but that's actually 0.5 increments. So that's actually 1 unit is 18 currently. Now, what we'll do after this is we'll split. No? We're going to slice this big image into smaller images para ang sprites then we'll just get the sprites from there. Okay? Where do we find that? Let's see. We'll click on tile map here again, and then we have this here, sprite mode. Instead of single, which is just one sprite, we want this to be multiple sprites. So we'll change this to multiple, and then scroll down, click on apply. It deletes the current tile map now because now we can't expand this because we didn't do the slicing yet. So we'll slice it. We'll go to the sprite editor here, right? Sprite mode, multiple, and then my sprite editor here. So it opens a window, and the window looks like this. Okay? There. Medyo too big. I'll make it a little smaller. Okay, there. All right. So sa slice, there's a slice button here. So there are a lot of types now. So we have automatic. We could also do grid by cell size, and then it will declare sort of like a measurement. No, we'll do this later. See grid by cell size. We could also do isometric grids. No, but we won't really do that right now. For now, since this is sort of sliced already, we could just do automatic and then si Unity na lang bahala to get all those blobs for us. Okay, so just click on automatic and then click on slice. And then if you see, no, there is like a white outline, so that kind of sliced your image. So na siya. Multiple sprites na ni siya. All we have to do is click on apply. Once applied, close this. And if we click on this one, so separated na siya into multiples. And then we could just get this sprite, put it on the scene view, etc. etc. So if, for example, we'll get this tile map 0, place it on the scene view there. Sana siya just one sprite na lang siya. Something like this. So what we can do next is maybe we have a sprite there, make another sprite here, make another sprite there. But that's kind of inefficient now, so because you go back to the sprites, you drag it back to the scene, etc. What we want to do is we'll set up a grid. And then after we set up a grid, we imagine ourselves like painters, where we could dip our paintbrush into the ink. The ink in this case is the sprites, and then we just paint it's a grid. So I'll remove this tile map for now, and then we'll create a 2D object tile map here. If you don't find the tile map objects, a 2D option here, you could go to Windows and Package Manager. Sorry. And then you could go to Built-in Assets and then just search for tile map. So since I already have this enabled, hindi ko na siya pag-i-enable again. But if you don't have it yet, you haven't used tile map before, you may have to do something here to enable this. But anyway, so if you have enabled it already, you go to 2D and then tile map. Okay, so since we're going to use squares lang, no, and essentially squares are rectangles, we'll just, oops, sorry, that was empty. Never mind. That we'll use tile map and a rectangular na tile map. There. So we have a grid here. It's just an empty na may grid na property, and then may child siya na tile map. So this tile map, this will be for the platforms. So I will rename this as platforms or platform tile map. Okay, and this grid I'll rename this to tile map grid. Okay, so we have our platform tile map, and then if we drag this into our platform, you'll see that it snaps. So this is much easier to do later on para hindi ka na mag-implement sang snapping. But if you see, no, if I drag tile map there and then I'll drag another tile map, dire siya, it populates your hierarchy. It's not really what we want, and it's kind of inefficient to go from the assets folder to the scene, assets folder to the scene. So we'll make another sort of optimization for this. Okay, so what we'll do next is, as I've said, now we'll imagine ourselves as painters. So as painters, we need a tile palette. Okay, so we could go to Window, 2D, I think, and then we have this here, tile palette. I'll click this, and then it creates a pop-up window. So it looks like this. I'll just drag this here in this side, so it's easier for us to go to the palette, edit the scene, and then if we want to add something to the palette, we could go here sa assets folder. I'll make the inspector smaller because we don't need too much of that right now. So we want to focus on the palette as well as the scene view. Okay, so for the palette, currently, wala siya palette, right? And then we have tools here sa palette. We have the selector, we have the move, we have brush, we have this again, paint field box with active brush, marquee, or it's like the teardrop selector. So Photoshop, right, if you do this tool, it copies the color. In this case, it doesn't copy the color, it copies the tile. Okay. We also have an eraser here and a fill. Okay, so we don't have a valid palette yet. Before that, no, we should create a tiles folder here, because here we will store the tiles as well as the tile palette. Okay, so I'll just name this folder tiles, and then we'll create our palette. So currently we don't have any palette. So if you click on no valid palette here, you have the option to create a new palette. So we'll create a new palette. Everything's good naman here. Cell size is 1, automatic, grid is rectangular. I'll name this platform palette, like so. Great, and then it will ask you to for a destination, no, where to store this palette. So I'll just go inside the tiles folder, select this folder, and it will create the tile palette. So currently our tile palette looks like this, empty pa siya. We haven't done anything here yet. So we'll fill up our tile palette. So since this tile map, we've already split this, right? We'll just drag this sa atin na tile palette. And then again, we'll just save this under tiles. So the tile assets are being imported, sort of. So if you look at the tiles folder, it's all in here as assets. Okay, tile assets. Okay, so we'll look at this. Amo ni ang ato na tile palette. So now what we can do, so this is the scene view, right? So we could click on this specific square, and then we could just brush it over sa aton nga scene here. Currently that's this tool, but we could also use the brush tool, dip it there, and then just paint it like that. Easier siya to manipulate. And then if you want, you could also select multiple like this, and then brush it over. Oops, sorry. So you could select multiple and then brush it over like so. Okay. So easier siya to create this, but you could also edit your palette. Now, for example, we'll erase. Let's erase all of this for now. You could also edit our palette to sort of place what we usually use, no? To some place which is more accessible. So we could edit this palette by clicking this button here, which toggles the palette edit. So for this one, I'll select this, which is the single tile. We'll move it somewhere here so it's more accessible to us for later. We'll also have these, which is like the single floating row. So I'll move it here. My partner man na siya, I think. This one, it's not very visible, but this one is a tile, tas may outline siya of like gray. So that's just one block, right? This one makes a row. Okay. We also have this. So this makes like a column, bigger column, and this one you could use it to make sort of like a bigger island later on. I'll drag these as well. I'll be using a lot of that. Here. Put it there. And then my partner na siya here, which is sort of like the middle portion. So I'll move it as well. Click on select, click on move, and then just drag it to wherever you want to put it. And then it has this as the bottom part as well. Drag it over here. Then we have this as well. Okay. And then we also have this one, which is sort of like a middle man siya na tile. It depende on what things you want to use, right? Also be using a lot of water later, So I'll move water here. If you want, you could duplicate this, right? Goes to the brush and then lengthen your water palette. Anyway, so what you could do is select. So I'll toggle off edit. Select your brush, like do this, and that's one island, right? You could have this, that, expand it. So you have another island here. Example that. Okay, so much easier to paint our terrain. So if you notice as well, there is sort of like a separation. That's because I think we cut the tiles a little smaller. One way to fix that is we could adjust the pixels per unit to make it bigger, right? Smaller number, it is going to make it bigger. So I'll reduce it from 18 17, click on apply, and then there looks like a singular mesh. Okay, so we could do painting with this, right? But we could also make use of a special tile, which is a rule tile. Rule tile, pwede siya na one tile lang siya, and it will adjust whenever there are neighbors. So kung may neighbor siya, for example, let's have, for example, this one. So this tile, if it has a neighbor to its left and to its right, it will become this. Pero dapat wala siya neighbor up and wala siya neighbor down. For example, we could implement those rules. So for this tile, for example, we want this na no neighbor up, no neighbor to the left. Pero this, it should have a neighbor to the right and down, like this. For this tile, dapat may neighbor siya up, left, down, right. So we could create a tile just like that. We'll make it here for now sa tile map, but we'll transfer it sa tiles later on. It's easier na siya first sa tile map, so we can just drag the sprites later on. Okay. So right click, create, then under 2D, tiles, and we'll create a rule tile. So this is our rule tile. So I'll name this platform rule tile. Now this rule tile, we can also drag it to our palette. Okay, I'll just drag this to our palette like so. So you can't see it because it has it doesn't have a default sprite for now. Okay. So we'll open the inspector and we'll edit the rule tile. So currently, this is the rule tile, platform rule tile here. Wala siya default sprite. So we could assign a default sprite for it. For example, this tile map 0 just as for default. And then we can see sa palette may default na siya itsura. Okay? And then we could make rules for it. Right? Currently, wala siya rules. We could add rules here. So let's start with this first one, this one, okay? So we could just drag this sprite to here. I'm not sure if it's big enough. Wait. Oh no. Paano ito na siya i-zoom sa... Wait lang. I'll figure it out. I don't have it. Anyway, okay. You can come closer na lang if you need. But we have the sprite here, and then there are rules here sa neighbors. So it depends on the neighbor. You could also extend the neighbor, in which it will extend, I think, one more tile, right? But we don't really need that for now. Subong, we could just do this. But for this tile, the rules is it's just a single tile, no, floating in the air. So what we need here, or what we want, is X here at the top, meaning we don't have a neighbor above. Below, we don't have a neighbor left, and we don't have a neighbor right as well. So if you draw this tile later on sa scene, if wala siya neighbor anywhere else, it would look like this. Okay? So let's do this row first after this. So we could add some more. So for the row, we'll have this one, which is like the end piece of the row. So for this one, this part, we don't want neighbor above, below. We don't want a neighbor here as well, sa left. So X, X, X. And then we need a neighbor sa right. Okay? So for example, we'll brush this over. It's a scene. Scene will brush this. Like so. So it doesn't morph yet because my neighbor pa siya. Anyway, but this one, wala siya neighbor above, neighbor below, and neighbor to the right. It should have a neighbor to the left. So, we could create another rule na for the other end of this, which is no neighbor above, no neighbor below, pero may neighbor siya sa left, wala siya dapat neighbor sa right. But we could also just mirror this to flip. So if you'll see, so sa rule tile here, there. So if duwa lang sila, right, it morphs into that, right? But if nothing follows the rules, for example, I'll do another tile there, wala na siya may follow the rules, so it defaults to the default sprite. But if we leave it like that, it looks like continuous row siya. We could also do the one which is the middle piece, which is there, tile map 2. So this one, the rule is nothing up, nothing down, but it should have neighbors left and right. So if we draw it here, there. So I'm running middle piece. This is the end piece here, end piece there. Okay. So it makes it easier to draw. But if you want to draw a bigger island like that, we don't have rules for it yet. So we have to create new rules for it as well. Okay. What else do we have? I think we have the row or the column. This column. So we'll find that. Where is it? This one. Okay. So for the column, we need no neighbor above. This is the top of the column. We should have a neighbor below and no neighbor at the sides. Okay, that's for the column. My partner siya, the column has a partner, the one that's below it. Where is it? There, no. Let's expand this. It's, no, that's the bottom piece. This is the middle piece, okay? So we'll add here for the middle piece. The middle piece should have neighbors up and down, but no neighbors at the side. The bottom piece is, where is it? Here's the bottom piece of the column. So we'll drag it here. The rule for this is should be nothing below, nothing to the sides, pero there should be a neighbor above, right? So if we draw this here, we're ensuring nothing below, here, something below, nothing above, right? So it makes a column. That. Automatic siya, mag-adjust siya depending on the rules that we have. We still need rules for this like island thing. We'll make rules for that. So the top parts of the island is here. So this is the corner, and this is the top, middle, and this is the corner top as well. Okay, so we'll add rule for this top corner. So for this corner, we don't want anything above, nothing to the left as well, but it should have a neighbor here and here, down and right. Okay, and we should flip this along the x-axis as well. Okay. And then for the middle one, we'll add another rule tile here. Nothing above, something below, something to the left and right. Okay? And then ang ang inside, right? We could have this, or we could have this. Okay. Where's my rule tile? Sorry. Going back to the rule tile. We could have which one was it? Could have this one, 104, tile map 104, or we could have tile map 122. So if you want to do a bit of randomness, right? So let's click on this tile map 122, and then instead of just a singular tile, you want to introduce a bit of randomness. Output, you could do random. And then here, the size, we could edit this to 2, so we have 2 selections. So this is tile map 122. The other one is tile map 104, right? Which is sort of similar, pero it has less sort of like dirt holes there. So pwede na siya mag-randomize. Okay? So that's for the middle part. We also need to add this one. So the rule for this, yeah, also, wait, did I edit this? Yes, sorry. So, should be a new rule tile. So ang rule niya is neighbor all around, and then random siya here. Make this 2. So I edited the previous one. Did I edit the previous one? Na duplicate, right? So we'll overwrite that. I'm sorry about that. We could just remove this actually, right? And then it's now this one. So what we need here is tile map 104, right? Tile map 104. Where is it? Tile map 104 and tile map 124, 122. We also need tile maps for this piece and this piece. So I think we only need 3 more rules, and then we could be done with it. I think for 4 more rules. Anyway, this one, this piece. So wala siya dapat neighbor here, neighbor up and down, and neighbor to the side. Okay, and then we'll also flip this x-axis. So our the one that we drew earlier, sort of the same na siya, no? It's getting there. We just need the bottom parts. So sa bottom parts, it is these one. No, not that one. This ones, right? This and this. Okay. We'll make a rule first for this corner. So this should have neighbor up and left, no neighbor right, no neighbor down. And then we'll do X flip. So there, wala siyang corner. And then we need another one for the middle one, or middle bottom. Okay, so it's the middle bottom, nothing below, and then up, down, left, right should have neighbors. So now, if we look at our scene view here, there, it looks like that. So island na siya, right? So with rule tile, we don't have to explicitly like create or paint a specific tile. Ma-form ka lang object that you want, and then si rule tile na mag-adjust. Na bahala, right? So in this case, it looks like that. Actually, we could do more rules, or another rule. Sige, I'll do another rule for corners, because it doesn't look that great, no? Corner nga now, if you see. We have corner tiles like this, pero I think we'll use, where is it? I think we'll use this one. Ang rules ini is there should be nothing in this, right? Wala di siya dapat something here, but dapat na siya up and down. And this one, you could flip this all around, X, Y, and Z. If you see, hindi siya ma-implement here. The reason for that is my precedence, si rule. So something overrides the precedence of this already. So we could just move it above that. Maybe like this, or maybe like override, no? Here. So it looks like that here, but it's not very pretty sa dalaw. Anyway, yeah. So pwede man siyang there, no? So if you see sa corner, this corner, it looks a little more curved there sa corner. So it looks like that. Yeah. So yeah, that's for the rule tiles. So you could just make a shape here, and then bahala na si rule tile to sort of deal with however it should adjust. Right? Pwede man siya gani. I think that's better. Anyway, yeah. You don't have to go to the palette, draw here, go to the palette, draw here. You could just manipulate rule tiles, make your platform, and then si rule tiles na ma-adjust some appropriate tile for it. There. Tada. Right? So faster siya na implementation. Or faster siya na level design. There. Rule tiles. Okay, so we'll erase everything for now, and then we'll create a very simple stage. Okay, we'll erase this ones. So if you want to expand, no, for example, I want to expand my my eraser. We could just do click on eraser here, and then just drag the empty space, right? And then click on eraser here again, so you have a bigger eraser. Yeah. Okay, so we'll build a very simple platform here. So maybe have that, and then we have one row here or one column here. Have two small islands, then one row, then maybe one bigger island here. Maybe we could do there, more islands there, and right out here. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we'll do that. Pero wala pa siya background, right? We still need background, and we want water as well, right? But for water, I don't want it to be in the same grid as our platforms, because our platform will behave differently sa water sta. Ang water sta would be sort of obstacle. If the player touches water, they die, just like in other 2D games. And then we also have background, right? But for now, we'll do the water. So we don't want it in the same tile map as our platform. So we'll create another tile map. So right-click on tile map grid here. Go to 2D, and then another tile map. Another rectangular tile map, and I'll call this water tile map. Okay? So see water tile map, we don't really need rule tiles for the water tile map, right? So you can just drag on the water here, and then be careful, because this combo box tells us which is the active tile map. So if you want to draw a platform tile map, dapat platform tile map here. If we want to draw some water, then we should click water tile map. Because if we draw here some water, then that will be part of the platform tile map. Okay, so we'll do water tile map, and then we'll paint it over here. Okay, so now it looks like that. Sa scene ta, or sa game view ta, it looks like that. Well, what I actually prefer is that the water is in front of the platforms. But if you don't want that, then you could rearrange this. You could rearrange this with the Z component sa position, like so. So 0 siya here, pwede siya negative, oh, that's rotation, sorry. Negative 1 mo siya here, or 1. There, siya sa likod. But that might mess up some of the physics we'll do later. A better way to do this is to implement sorting layers. The sorting layers, diba, we had layers before for collision, right? So see, sorting layers naman niya, it is not for collision, it is for rendering, right? So you could layer your elements sa 2D space, and then with different sorting layers, ang muna ang pag-render. So which one is in front, which one is at the back. Okay, so to add rendering, sorting layers, we can click on layer here. This is not the layer that we want, right? This is the collision layers, but we can add the layer, or we can access the tags and layers na window from here. So we won't touch this layers for now. What we want to do is sorting layers, right? So sa sorting layers, we want one sa platform. Okay. We don't have background yet, but we need background as well. Background for later. We have another one for water, and then one for, we don't have it yet, but for later, ang player or ang enemies. Pwede man siya enemies here. Let's add enemies here. Tapos, how you would arrange the sorting layers, basically, what is at the bottom of the sorting layer, that is at the front of our camera. So in this case, we want na at the front of our camera is actually the player later on, right? And then if you wanted the water is behind the platform, so you could say that like this, right? So behind the platform is the water, and behind everything is your background, like this. Or you could put it there, even behind siya sang default. Now it doesn't reflect here yet because we didn't touch the renderer yet. Okay, so to implement that, we go to our tile map and then sa renderer. If you see here, the additional settings of our tile map renderer, we have sorting layer here. So we want this platform tile map to be platform there. And then the water tile map should be, where is it? Here. Dapat water siya, right? Now if we go back to that, so if we want that our platform is in front of our water, then it's like this. If we want our water to be in front of our platform, then just switch it. Okay? So for now, I want that my water is in front of the platform. Just for now. Okay? We could just change it later on. Okay? Next thing we'll do, background naman, right? Because we need background as well. For the background, I'll create another palette para hindi ito siya mess up ang already made na palette for the platforms and the water. So I'll create a new palette for the background. Okay, background palette. Background palette. Create in platform assets tiles. Okay, and then we'll get it from this tile map. We could use this, or we could use this as well. We'll use this one, and then we'll slice it grid by grid later. So here sa tile siya, so just save that. Okay, so this is our, oops, I forgot to, what did I do? I forgot to slice it. Okay, that's why it looks like that. Delete, can I delete this? Can I delete? No, doesn't want to be deleted. I will just delete background palette itself. We'll just make a new background palette. Background palette. 8 tiles. Okay. We did not the tiles. We didn't, I know, the tile map. We didn't split it yet. Sorry about that. So ang background niya I think according to the creator sa kay Kenny, 24 by 24 na siya. So we could just change this, no? Ang pixels per unit into 24, and then instead of single, multiple mo siya, so we can slice it later on. So click on apply, and then we'll go to sprite editor. Now this one, buo siya na image, right? But we want to slice this, we could use so we can't do automatic because it's just one blob. So what we'll use is grid by cell size, okay? So grid by cell size, we know that this should be 24 by 24, right? There. So maka-slice na siya in that way. So we click on slice, and then we'll just click on apply. There, so sliced na siya. There's a bit of problem here though, in which there are a bit of artifacts in between these two. So hindi siya very clean nga cut. So we could sort of trim it like that. And then by 1 pixel, just by one pixel. But it will show gaps later on. To avoid those gaps, we could make the things bigger. So I'll instead make it 23 units. Okay? I'll show later kung what happens if it stays at 24 with that reduced na grid size. But anyway, We have those tile map background, so we'll drag it here sa water tile map. No, sorry. Am I in the right? Yeah. We'll drag it here sa background palette, and then go sa tiles, select folder, and there. So hindi siya clean, so we could rearrange this, right? So this one's, move it here, and then this ones are here. Ones are here. Ones here. And then okay, like so. Okay. 23 na ba na siya? Yeah, 23. All right. So for the background, so we should be in the background tile map. We haven't created it yet, so we'll create another tile map here for the background. Background tile map, and then for the sorting layer, dapat naka-background siya. There. And then we're free to paint. So we'll select brush here. Right? So we're brushing over. Naka-water pa siya. Good, good, good. Okay. So maybe we could put it here. Right? Right there. Yeah. Maybe we could do that. So populate mo lang siya. Like so. You could even do a big teardrop. That. And there. And then for the other one, oops. It is so here and here. Don't have to be too exact on the background, right? And then the top part. There. My background. It looks pretty good, right? Pretty good. Yeah. There. We have our first scene. We just have to add our character. Okay. So I'll save this for now. How much time do we have? We have around 15 minutes. Okay, we'll add our character and then we'll make him move sa next na lang na the next meeting na lang. Okay. Anyway, let's go back sa assets folder. We're done with our our platforms for now. We could add more of it later, but for now, it's okay. We'll go to our night files. Tapos there are a lot of things here. Let's go sa night PNG. So these are separate PNGs for the night sprite. I'll select the idle one. Die, dizzy, hurt, here. See idle one. Here. I'll just drag it to the scene, and there, it looks like that. This is sprite renderer. Again, this should have the sorting layer there. So it's in front of everyone. The scene view will make him, we'll put it here around there right now. Okay, if we click on play, nothing happens. Well, we didn't put any collider, we didn't put any gravity yet for our layer here. So instead of night idle, I'll make this layer. We'll establish that. So first thing we'll do, or we'll add a rigid body type layer. So instead of rigid body, we should use rigid body 2D because we're using rigid 2D physics. We won't touch anything, so rigid body there. And we'll add a collider. So this one, I'll just do a simple box collider, 2D, not the 3D one. We need the 2D one. Now for this collider, it's currently too big. We can't see it because it's green on green. So I'll disable the background for now, right? So we can edit the player na collider. It looks, here's a scene, sorry. So it looks like that, very big. So we could just reduce this, right? Somewhere there would be, yeah, okay. And then around that tall, and then around that height. Okay, that's a collider for our player. If we click on play, what will happen? Background there. We click on play, it's just gonna fall. There, because we don't have colliders for our platforms yet. That's the next thing we'll do. Okay, so a platform tile map, we'll add colliders here. So since this is a tile map, right? If you do or search for colliders here, we have tile map collider 2D here. So since it's a tile map, we'll use tile map collider as well. So if you look at this, sa aton nga scene view, may mga overlap nga colliders, right? And then each individual tile is one individual collider. It will work, I think. It will still work. Or that might be a little wonky later sa detection, right? So what we need here, or what we want to do here, is dapat smooth siya. One island, dapat one lang man siya nga collider. Okay? So to do that, sa platform tile map, we'll create another component here, which is the composite collider 2D. So this is another type of collider, which is basically, it gets a lot of colliders, tapos na-combine niya siya in one bigger collider. Composite collider, and then this comes by default with a rigid body. You can't take this away. But since we don't really want our platforms to move, right? So instead of body type niya na dynamic here, we'll just set this to static, right? So hindi siya ma-move ever, right? And then we'll just leave it be. So sa composite collider, nothing happened yet. We should go back to our tile map collider, and then we have a check box here, used by composite. So we'll just check on used by composite, and tada, your collider is now one big collider. So if I disable the background and I disable ang renderer ni platform tile map, this one, so you'll see background, not the tile map, sir. Okay, so si platform there, ang manang iyan na colliders. You can see. Okay. We'll click on renderer again, and background will enable it again. Okay, so if we put our character here at the top, it should fall and then there, get stuck on, oops, there, should get stuck on the grass. Actually, it looks like it's still floating a bit, so we could just adjust the collider there. No? Last thing we'll do for now is we'll make, because if our guy here just falls, right, and then it's just going to stand there, not doing anything, and well, we don't have any controls for our game, so it feels like our game is on pause. So we want to do a bit of animation so that our guy is like in idle stance, right? Not idle, the idle stance, not doing nothing, idle. Okay, so we have animations here, right? Idle 1, idle 02, idle 03, idle 04. For that, we'll create a assets folder. I'll create a folder here to contain all of the animations. So I'll just create an animations folder there, expand this a bit, and then let's go back to our night files, the night PNG. So we'll create an animation. Okay, when we create an animation, we will select the sprites. Now, currently, these assets are image assets, PNG siya. So, PNG, if you expand mo siya, it also has the sprite asset as part of the PNG. So, So we don't need the PNG, but we need the sprites. So we'll expand everything. So see Night Idol 1, we'll expand him, Idol 2, 3, 4, 5. I think this is 6 frames of idle, right? And we'll select all of the sprites. So idle 001, 02, 03. Take note of sprites, not the image, right? So there, I've selected all 6. And then I'll just right click simply and then create animation. There, animation. Then I'll just name this Night Idol. Okay? And then I'll drag this over sa animations folder. Okay? So it's already here. But how can we put it sa aton nga player? We need a controller. We need to have an animation controller. There. So I'll name this Night Anim CTRLR controller. There. And then I'll open this. So if you've done sa MP3, right? I think you should be familiar with the animator. So we'll drag our Night Idol here. And then I'll click on idle. Tapos I want this to loop. Para sige-sige lang siya if it's not doing anything yet. Right? So we'll add this component, animator, to our Night. And then just drag the animator controller here. Click on save. And then let's look at how it performs. I pause down. So if you see, the head is actually bobbing, right? I'm not sure if you could. I'm zooming in there. So it's actually doing the idle animation. So that's the idle animation for our Night. And then next meeting, we'll make him run around. Okay? And then I think I'll also expand the platforms so that it has plenty more space to run around. Okay? We'll end it here for now.